I know you were expecting a tutorial this week, but I'm actually doing something very different this time, just to show you some Monet art and try to give you some history behind the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. I'm taking you to this great museum to show you all these great artwork from masters. If you're ready to join, let's go. Here's a checklist for a good museum visitor. Are you ready? Some sweater just in case, water, and comfy shoes. I got off of the Orange Line train, but then I realized I was really hungry, so I was gonna look for some place to eat, but definitely I was going to eat something not really unhealthy, because I dedicated myself to eat healthy. Do you see Northeastern University campus here? Because you have to go through this campus to go to the museum. So many young people, such good energy. Love here. Mexican food or salad? I'll be healthy today. Oh no, it's closed. So guys, the universe is telling me not to be healthy. Not today. I found something to eat, ketogenic, so I guess I'm lucky. After I eat this, quickly I will go to the museum. I'll see you guys there. I couldn't eat all. Okay, let's go. So I'm in front of the museum. As you can see, they put a lot of very nice chairs to chill, but I'm going to walk towards the museum and I'm going to give you some information. First, this museum was built in 1870, so it's actually one of the oldest, maybe the oldest active museum right now in the United States. You have to know that. And the second thing is it's the 16th largest museum in the world, so that's a great number, and you can see it right behind me right now. This is the Fine Arts Museum in Boston. Also, if you look at the numbers, then there's like 450,000 artwork exhibited in this museum. So we're gonna check them out now. Let's go. Here on the left, I see a very unique Velázquez painting. Diego Rodriguez de Silva y Velázquez, Infant Maria Theresa. You can see that all this balloon skirt, all the royalty symbolism here, the transition between gray and white being perfect. They also exhibit a lot of work of Peter Paul Rubens, and I really enjoy looking at them in this room. These mesmerizing details here, you can see gypsies and gentlefolk and beautiful trees and landscapes. It's made by Jan Weldens in the late 1630s, and look at these details, guys. Even when you get closer and closer, the details of these figures and the shadows of the trees and the size of this painting, they're all amazing features of this beautiful artwork. Now we're gonna look at David. David was painted by Claude Vignon between 1923 and 25. I just want you to look at the hand, how realistic it looks, all the colors on the arm where the folds are, and of course the fur. And on the second one is the Orazio Gentileschi's work of St. Francis. It was just amazing to see the play of light in this painting. This portrait belongs to an old saint, so you can see all these aging effect on the body. I think this is a perfect portrait to show how you can use your techniques, your skills to give that effect. I think my favorite was by Francisco de Zurbarán, the St. Francis. This painting reflects St. Francis in a very realistic portrait. You can see the light is coming from the left and the shadow is on the right. It's just how his face is lighting up and how you can see his robe like from that angle, and you can feel the feeling that the St. Francis is feeling. Oh, that was so many feeling. Anyway, this is just amazing to me. I would buy this portrait at a heartbeat. Well, if I could afford. Let's say bye to this part, and now let's talk about a very famous portrait by Rembrandt, Atelier Eulenburg's portrait. For me, what makes this portrait unique is the eyes. Wow. Now I'm gonna show you a crazy detailistic oil painting. Are you ready? This is only as big as 2 centimeters. Actually, it's like less than an inch. And look at that. Look at the perspective, look at the colors, look at the lighting, look at the precision of all the details you see here. It's just mind-blowing. For example, these details at the steps, these engravings, even at the background, at the very back, you see some blurry figures. It is just mesmerizing. As you know, Emile Bernard was one of the closest friends of Van Gogh, and he's just a great artist. You know Edward Munch with Scream mostly, but this is also a great painting from him. Summer Night's Dream, or The Voice. Again, if you watched my Van Gogh documentary before, you know Paul Gauguin. Paul Gauguin was one of the closest people to Van Gogh for a period of time, but then they fall out and it didn't end very well. Odilon Redon's The Angel of Destiny is an interesting painting. It evokes different feelings in different people. So what do you think? Do you think this is mysterious, scary, or funny? I think it's scary. Let's come to Van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh portrayed the postman and his wife. Here you see the wife, and everything is so Van Gogh. The color choices, the brush strokes, the hands, and as you can see, it's the post-impressionism here, right, with the long lines. And you see the postman Joseph Rollin here in 1888. And in this portrait, you can also see the perfect colors in terms of light and shadow. The fingers look a little bit distorted. It's again typical for Van Gogh. And I want you to look at the beard as well. Amazing color choices. And look at the background, guys. This is a very smart way of using oil paint. Louis Bonnier portrait by Theodor van Rysselberg is another post-impressionism work in this lounge. I love the color choices. What do you think? And he looks like Sigmund Freud a little bit. Don't you think? Anyway, I really love this. Look at that. Wow. Perfect. Again, Van Gogh, guys, but this time a landscape, ravine. You see a river in the middle and 2 mountains. Or maybe 3? Yes, one in the distance. Look at the color choices. Look at the brush strokes. This is amazing. The painting is coming alive. When I see paintings like these, I just realize, like, why do we talk about hyperrealism or realism? This is amazing without being realistic. I mean, look at this. Look at the building. Look at the trees. The feeling that it gives to you, it's just something even unexplainable. But speaking of realism, Mary Sears' portrait by Joseph Florentin Lombona is kind of creepy because it's really, really realistic. It's like hyper realistic. I also want you to look at these color choices on the hand. Oh, she's looking at me. Anyway, I'm trying to show you the hands because they are amazingly made. Look at that. Drawing or painting hands are difficult, guys, and the color choices are brilliant here. Also, where the buttons are and the flower is, it's just super talent we're talking about. And she's still looking at me. Okay, bye. Alfred Stevens, In Memoriam. This is also an oil painting, which is hyper realistic, but it is really, really small. So giving this much detail with this small of a brush, it's, I think, really amazing. Look at these colors. Look how bright they are, how beautiful the light looks on this portrait. Look how small it is. Wow. Next one is one of my favorites. Jean-Jacques Joseph Tissot, Woman of Paris, The Circus Lover, 1885. You know this portrait, guys. Look how that lady in pink is looking right through you, and how other figures are so into the stage, and the clown on the stage just gives you this chilling look. So this is the hall that is full of these beautiful paintings, guys. I am amazed by this room. One more last piece that I want to show you. This is brilliant. Look at how the white and cream colors are used together to give that wind blow, to give that sunshine. It's just brilliant use of colors. Really, really amazing. I'm speechless. Look at that. All these white areas, without looking at a photograph, painting something like this, mind blown. People mostly stand between these two paintings. Must be the popular ones. The only Picasso work I saw in this museum was Fernanda Oliveira portrait, who was his first wife. Paul Cézanne was a very inspiring artist, and he used these different angles in one painting to kind of create a brain freeze, because you have objects painted in from different angles in one painting together. That gives you this magical feeling of what's going on here. Georges Braque, who created Cubism together with Picasso, painted these two still life after Paul Cézanne's work. He used the same exact style, that using different angles and putting them all in one angle so that it tickles your brain a little bit. What I realize in these exhibitions, they usually put the most vulnerable ones to the upper part. You can see how it's cracking, how it's a little bit damaged, so they're making sure that it's not on the eye level so people don't get to touch them, even damage them more. Another beautiful portrait. You can see the play of the white and gray here, creating a perfect illusion of light. Speaking of light, in this portrait, Antonis and Faustin's temple, you will see the perfect lighting as well on the temple. Isn't that amazing? Another religious drawing is coming up, Seventh Plague of Egypt by John Martin. In this painting, what you're seeing is Moses is bringing down the 7th out of 10 plague to convince Pharaoh to free all the enslaved Israelis. Look at the light and the sky, and it's just giving you the feeling that really the end of the world is coming. You know him with this painting, The Woman at the Bar, but I'm gonna show you a different work of him. Who I'm talking about is Edouard Monet. So when Maximilian, the Emperor of Mexico, was executed by the previous president, this really affected Parisian artists as well as the other artists in the world. So this is one of the biggest Edouard Monet works, and the only biggest one that doesn't talk about a myth. but a real-world problem. Before I leave this room, I just want to look one more time to remember. Guys, if you're saying that, you're so impatient to finish your portrait and you're just complaining that it's taken too long, look at this painting behind me. I mean, we should, I think, all shut up and just bow with respect. How many years do you think it took to finish this work? I mean, wow. Let me tell you about what I personally liked about this painting. First of all, look at this leg. You can see the balance of the light and shadow on the legs and the drapes really well. And when you look at the steps and those shoes and the feet and legs, you can see how realistic it is. And the way they did this, guys, they didn't have camera then. They're all doing this from their minds. I think it's amazing. Normally, when I'm looking at older sculptures like these, like that are 400, 500 years old, I would die to touch them, feel the history, But now with pandemic, I feel like 400-year accumulation of viruses and germs, so I don't think I'm gonna touch much. Gustave Doré. Well, we all know the history of art, especially Western art, is pretty sexist, or I do find them sexist. But things are changing now, yay! But you can see here that a lot of human figures are actually portrayed really, really realistically and beautifully. We are in the Baroque era. In Baroque era, you see that the colors are a little bit darker, it's more mystical, and usually it's about the real life situations of like normal folks. You see here the dark colors, right? The peasants in tavern, and we look at the other painting right here, peasant family. Again, it has this dark features, it's very mystical, and it shows the average folk of the public. Then you have the famous wine drinker from David Reichert III, and you see that it is again showing all the necessary features of the Baroque times. It is very small, guys. Let me show you. Let me show myself so you kind of compare. This hall is full of paintings from Baroque times and Romanticism times. So what do you mean by Romanticism? I will show you some examples. So when you're talking about the Romanticism movement, you have the landscapes. You still have dark tones like browns and greens and dark blues, but you also have the beauty of the landscapes, the trees and the ocean and everything. So these are some examples. I want to show you a very realistic still life, guys. I was amazed by all the details. Look at this. Thank you, Han Davids de Heem, for this beautiful experience. Wow. I found another artist, Han Won Huisum, and here you see the flowers. And the butterfly. Look at the details. This is just amazing, mind-blowing. He definitely mastered the use of his brush. I think this was my favorite room so far, not only because of the artwork collection, but how they were exhibited. The oldest art pieces from the exhibition were coming from actually China, from the dynasties. This is, for example, from the 8th century AD. They were the part of the tombs in palaces. You see a Buddha sculpture right here, as old as the previous one. And look at the detail in this one. This is 593 AD. Craftsmanship. Look at the craftsmanship. Guys, I was saying that the other ones were old, but I think these discs are the oldest things I've ever seen in my life. These discs are from like 3000 BC, so yes. This portrait by Domenico Tintoretto is named as the young man's portrait. Have you ever thought, like, we are getting, you know, commissioned work, we are doing portraits, if they will ever become like exhibited in the museums? Well, we don't have many royalties anymore, do we? Guys, I think I found the most beautiful piece of the museum here. How do I look? No, yeah, it's not as pretty, but it is historically really, really important. This is from China. The lion. That was also a big part of exhibition that were just from black artists, and the color choices here were very different, very vibrant, and of course the theme of the paintings were amazing. I was really mesmerized by them as well. Look at this, look at the color choices here, the warmth of the colors. They are just chilling in the dining room. Amazing. When I came to the Egyptian part, I came to the realization that all these sculptures are missing heads. Like, what's up with, like, no heads and Egyptian sculptures? I was wondering. So let's move on. What I like about Egyptian sculpture is that, as if they are taking a photo from their lives, they are actually just depicting those moments with their sculptures. For example, we see some soldiers, we see a queen and the king, or maybe just husband and wife just staring at you. And then you see another woman here either washing some kind of rug or maybe making food, making bread, I don't know. But definitely they all tell a story, and that's why I love Egyptian sculpture. And of course, I took a photo in front of pyramids. I wouldn't miss that opportunity. You know, guys, I'm gonna show you now a clothing piece that doesn't cover much, but it looks cute. What do you think? You tell me. Here we go. Isn't that pretty? And they're skinny too. This is how they found it. Beat net dress. I guess they didn't want to leave this room empty, so they put a like artwork there. Anyway, guys, we came to this room and you see a lot of boats. They were really good at the sea. They were good marines. They used very high quality boats and they were fishing. They were, you know, just going on wars on these boats. So definitely this was a big part of their life. And when they died, they were buried with these boats, these sculptures. And here is what, oh, sorry, I hit on the glass. There's a glass, AJ, be careful. Okay, this is a typical coffin where they bury their dead with, and together with all these sculptures, of course. I wonder what these are saying. Like, let's go and take that island. Or look at his face, he looks really confused. But I don't know, like really, each one of these tell a story, and I would love to know what they're saying. At this point, I don't think we can only assume, but it's just amazing how many of those. And they're all tall and skinny, so fit. I'm jealous. And 3 musketeers. If you ever wonder what that number 3 is coming from, I think it's from Egyptians. Look at that. Everyone comes in 3s. Well, this is actually 2 heads. But the third one still counts, I think. So these are from 3000 BC. Wow. Hey guys, I wanted to show this mask from Democratic Republic of Congo. I think it's very aesthetic, but also it reminded me of my face how it looks in the mornings. Yes, this is definitely me in the mornings. Now the time for Monet exhibition came. Let's go there. This is one of the first Monet paintings that were not from Impressionism era, and you can tell that for sure, but it's still showing his mastery. In late 1870s, you will see him switching towards Impressionism more. This actually painting is somewhere in between the two styles that he had, the previous one and the new one. And now with the late afternoon, you will see all these brush strokes and all the reflection from the ocean or the lake that is actually Monet's signature. So Monet was an amazing painter, Impressionism painter. This is one of my favorites, guys. Look at the color choices here. Look how vibrant the colors are. Oops! Well, when you get too close, the thing beeps. So, sorry guys. But that was me. Yeah, I should be more careful. But I mean, look at this. Isn't that amazing? If you don't know, Monet was also very close to Japanese art, and this is one of his paintings. It's a huge painting, and look at the colors, look at the vibrancy, and look at all the details on that kimono. I think this was one of the best pieces of Monet. Now, of course, we are speaking of Monet, so we should talk about flower beds, right? So flowers are either really pastel colors, which are the soft ones like you see here in the distance, or very vibrant, very highly saturated colors like that you are looking at right now. Look at those brush strokes for the flowers. Isn't that amazing? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Monet. You see more pastel colors here. And also in this landscape, you can see the water and the mountains. But when you look closely, you can see the beautiful brush strokes to create that color combination. If you have to define Monet with three signatures, I would say the first one is the reflection from the water, and the second one would be pastel tones that he's been using, those pinks and blues and beautiful greens, and flowers, of course. Flowers is a big part of his signature, especially the lilies. The water lilies are just very common in his artwork. And let's look at some of his artwork with his signatures. Let's start with the water lilies, shall we? You see the pastel colors and also water reflection here, as well as the flowers. Let's look at the other ones. Again, we see pastel colors and water reflection. And as we move on and look at the other artworks, you will see the repetition of these signature styles. Auguste Rodin was a great sculptor between 1840 and 1917. So you see the raw marble as it is in the nature, and then you see how he carves it out and creates this smooth skin. It's just amazing. Another work from him here is definitely also a much smaller piece, but you can see he explains that he did this because he wanted to study light and shadow. And drapery just looks so natural. Guys, I don't know if you know it or not, but I'm from Turkey originally, and I found some pieces from Turkey as well where they were talking about Islamic art. And they talked about porcelain a lot. So porcelain comes from China, as we know them from China, but because we are from Central Asia, as you know. But the dragons or other Chinese symbolism has become more like tulips or other Islamic symbols later on, and it became a very big part of Ottoman Empire. Now they are very different, and you can see which one belongs to China, which one belongs to Ottoman Empire, and all these beautiful pieces, these beautiful porcelains come from Iznik, Turkey, from Ottoman Empire times in 1500s. I found an Egyptian door, guys. Look at that. This is again from the 15th century. They're just like carving the wood here, different parts of wood, but look at that. Look at this detail. Look at the craftsmanship. Wow. It reminds me of backgammon a little bit. I don't know why. Let's continue our walk, and this is the biggest piece. This huge painting is by Thomas Sully. In 1819, he painted this Passage of the Delaware. Gilbert Stuart is famous for a lot of George Washington portraits, and here are some of them. One of them is with George Washington and a horse's back. I don't know why they thought that would be the best choice, but yeah, it's not a bad portrait at all. And this one, this George Washington portrait, is actually the one that is on our US dollar right now. And you see George Washington's wife's portrait here, again done by Gilbert Stuart. I really liked how they exhibited a lot of work from Black artists, and they were all around us. It was just amazing to see. For example, this work I particularly liked. Granddaughter and grandpa holding hands, and this was done by different kinds of paper all brought together, and it's made by watercolor. Here I see a bookstore, guys, gift shop. I'm not going in. I'm not going in. No. Oh, too late. I'm in. I love this woman artist section. When you first enter, it's on your right. I definitely will buy some books from here. And you have some Monet designs here, from pillowcases to magnets to vases. So many things to buy. Then here is the Turkish part. You can see some Ottoman, tulip kind of designs, but they're a little bit expensive. For example, this is $18. No thank you. And this mug is like $22. I don't know if you like it, but I'm gonna pass it for now. But they are so pretty. Here is the Van Gogh section. As you can see, there are puzzles, and I see some vases, and I see even like some napkins with Starry Night on them. That's just amazing, guys. And I even saw some little Van Gogh bubble heads that I didn't buy, but if it's your thing, definitely go for it. I couldn't stop myself again, and I bought stuff. Do you want to see? As you can see, I got a lot of books about women artists, and this great little plate here for most of History Anonymous was a woman. I got a poster of this lighthouse walk painting that I really loved, and a mug that shows history of art. Oops, I did it again. It came to an end. I could stay maybe half an hour more, but honestly, this mask killed my ears. Like, it became numb in the end. But this was it, guys. I hope you found it fun. I'll see you next week. Stay with art and love. This was better. I'm learning this. Thanks for watching my video. If you like my videos, please don't forget to subscribe. And for my real-time narrated tutorials, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/Ece Gurler. Stay with art and love.